Today we shall discuss about coefficient of variation. So in addition to calculation of standard deviation, we have to calculate the value of coefficient because it is a relative measure. So the absolute measure corresponding to its relative measure is called as coefficient of variation, and the standard deviation is the absolute measure of dispersion. The corresponding relative measure is known as coefficient of variation, and coefficient of variation is expressed by using the letters CV, and this measure is developed by Carl Pearson, and it is the most commonly used measure of relative variation, and it is used in problems that need to compare the variability of two or more than two series. So that series or group for which coefficient of variation is greater is said to be more variable or less consistent, less uniform, less stable, or less homogeneous. On the other hand, the series for which coefficient of variation is less is said to be less variable or more consistent, more uniform, more stable, or more homogeneousness. And here so here standard deviation ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೋಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಕೋಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಲೆಟರ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ವಿ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಕೋಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಮೆಜರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ absolute measure standard deviation, absolute measure standard deviationಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಮೆಜರ್ corresponding to its relative measure or relative measure ಅನ್ನ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ವೇಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸೊ coefficient of variation ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಜರ್ is developed by Carl Pearson, and it is most commonly used measure of relative variation because coefficient of variation is to be used to compare the variability of two or more than two series, ಎರಡು ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸೀರೀಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೋಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಯರ್ that series or that group for which coefficient of variation is greater, ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಸೀರೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿ ವಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ವಿ ವಿ ಸೇ that series or that group is to be more ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಲೆಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಲೆಸ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಲೆಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಹೋಮೋಜಿನಿಯಸ್. On the other hand, that series or that group for which coefficient of variation is less, ಸಿ ವಿ ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಸೀರೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ that is said to be less variable ಅಥವಾ ಮೋರ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಮೋರ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್, ಮೋರ್ ಹೋಮೋಜಿನಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ interpreting the results after calculating the problems. And here coefficient of variation is denoted by the symbol CV, and it is obtained as coefficient of variation is equal to sigma by mean into 100 standard deviation divided by arithmetic mean into 100. Now the exam so the problems will explain how to calculate the coefficient of variation. So with these problems we can understand clearly. So here the scores of two batsmen A and B in 10 cricket matches is given below. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೂ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮನ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮನ್ ಎ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮನ್ ಬಿ. ಸೊ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಕೋಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್, find which batsman A or B or is more consistent in scoring. ಯಾವ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸ್ಕೋರಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯಾವ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮ್ಯಾನಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್. So for in order to calculate the batsman A or B is more consistent, we have to calculate coefficient of variation. So here for both the series we have to calculate coefficient of variation with the mean and standard deviation. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೀನ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸಿ ವಿ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಸಿಗ್ಮಾ ಬೈ ಮೀನ್ ಇಂಟು 100. ಸೊ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ arithmetic mean and standard deviation for batsman A is explained as, ಸೊ ಏನು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಾಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಎ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ಇಯರ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ and the arithmetic mean and standard deviation can be calculated by taking assumed value. So d square. So here from this x series 60 is the assumed value. Here we can take any value as assumed value. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ನಂಬರನ್ನು ನಾವು ಎ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಎ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇಯರ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ದ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೀರೀಸ್. ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡಿ ಅನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಡಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಎ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಎ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. Here 60 is taken as assumed value. Now make the difference 32 minus 60 minus 28, 28 minus 60 minus 32, 47 minus 60 minus 13, 63 minus 60 plus 3, 71 minus 60 plus 11, 39 minus 60 minus 21, 10 minus 60 minus 50, 60 minus 60 0, 96 minus 60 plus 36. Now make it as a square. D ಅನ್ನು d square ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. minus 28 whole square means 784 minus 32 whole square 1024 minus 13 whole square 169 plus 3 whole square 9 plus 11 whole square 121 minus 21 whole square 441 minus 50 whole square 2500 0 square 0 36 whole square 1296. Now standard deviation can be calculated using this formula. Sigma is equal to root of sigma fd square by n minus sigma fd by n whole square. So or we can also use the formula root of sigma d square by n minus sigma d by n whole square. So that can also be taken as to calculate sigma or standard deviation, because this is a individual series. Sigma d square 8460 divided by n total frequency means here n stands for number of observations or number of items. Therefore n is equal to number of items here 2 4 6 8 10 minus of sigma d 140 minus 140 by 10 whole square. So therefore by simplifying this we can have root 650 is equal to 25 minus 495 runs. This is what the value of sigma. Now arithmetic mean can be calculated using this formula. X bar is equal to sigma x by n. Sigma x, the value of total of x 460. 460 by 10 is equal to 46 runs. Therefore the coefficient of variation can be calculated using the formula CV is equal to mean by sigma by mean into 100. Standard deviation 25.495 divided by arithmetic mean 46 into 100 is equal to 55.42%. This is what the value of coefficient of variation for student batsman A. Now let us calculate CV of batsman B. Calculation of coefficient of variation for batsman B, and here the given values are taken in the first column, and calculate D and D square ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ಮನ್ ಬಿ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಡಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ known as x minus a. So here 40 is taken as assumed value. Now calculate or now find the difference of all the given values. 19 minus 40 is equal to minus 21. 31 minus 40 minus 9. 48 minus 48. 53 minus 40 13. 67 minus 40 27. 90 minus 40 50. 10 minus 40 minus 30. 62 minus 40 22. 40 minus 40 0. 80 minus 40 40. Now d square minus 21 whole square 441 minus 9 whole square 81. 8 square 64. 13 square 169. 27 whole square 729. 50 whole square 2500. So like that we have to make it as a square, then finally find the sum of d square. Now sigma d square is equal to 6968. Sigma d is equal to 100, and n is equal to 10 items. N is equal to number of observations or number of items 10. Now arithmetic mean can be calculated using this formula. X bar is equal to sigma x by n equals sigma x 500 by 10 is equal to 50 runs. Similarly, standard deviation can be calculated using the formula sigma is equal to root of sigma fd square or sigma d square by n minus sigma fd by n or sigma d by n whole square, because this is a individual observation. Therefore we have to take into account only the d. So sigma is equal to root of sigma d square by n minus sigma d by n whole square. So therefore substituting the values into the formula, root of sigma d square 6968 by 10 minus sigma d 100 by 10 whole square. So root of 696.8 minus 100 is equal to root of 569.8. Therefore ಸ್ಕ್ವೈರ್ ರೂಟ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ 24.43 ರನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Now, coefficient of variation can be calculated using the formula CV is equal to sigma or standard deviation by arithmetic mean into 100. Sigma 24.43 divided by x bar 50 into 100 equals 48.86%. Since here by comparing coefficient of variation of A and with that of B, we can say that which series is more uh, consistent. And here uh, uh, since coefficient of variation is less for batsman B, so therefore he is more consistent because coefficient of variation is less. So in the next problem, so a panel of two judges A and B graded seven dramatic performances by awarding marks as follows. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಬೈ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಹೌ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ coefficient of variation. So performance is given and marks by A and marks by B. So find out coefficient of variation in the marks awarded by two judges and interpret the result. Now, for both the series of data, arithmetic mean and standard deviation are to be calculated, and calculation of CV for judge, and here the calculation of CV coefficient of variation for judge A is explained here. So CV in the marks awarded by two judges, and we have to interpret. So first we have to calculate the values of arithmetic mean and standard deviation, and finally CV. So here calculation of CV for judge A. So therefore ಏನು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿ and then third column d square. So given values are to be taken in the first column x 46 42 44 first column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So d can be calculated as x minus a. So here 40 is taken as assumed value because it is a value which is taken to uh, to make the differences of all the given values for calculating 40 46 minus 40 plus 6 42 minus 40 2 44 minus 44 40 minus 40 0 43 minus 43 41 minus 41 45 minus 45. Now d square 6 square 36 2 square 4 4 square 16 0 square 0 3 square 9 1 square 1 5 square 25. Now find the sum of these terms d square 91 sigma d 21 and sigma x 301, because to calculate arithmetic mean, and here n is equal to 9 2 4 6 7. N is equal to 7 number of items or number of observations, and here arithmetic mean can be calculated using the formula x bar is equal to sigma x by n equals 301 by 7 equals 43 marks. This is what the value of arithmetic mean, and similarly standard deviation can be calculated using the formula sigma is equal to root of sigma d square by n minus sigma d by n whole square. Now root of 91 by 7 minus 21 by 7 whole square. So root of 13 minus 9 is equal to root 4. Therefore, 2, the value of mean means sigma is equal to 2 runs. Now, coefficient of variation can be calculated using the formula CV is equal to sigma by mean into 100. Standard deviation 2 by arithmetic mean 43 into 100 is equal to 4.65 per 1%. This is what the value of CV for judge A. So likewise, in the same way we have to calculate CV for judge B. So in the first column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿ, in third column d square. Now here d is equal to x minus a. So 40 is taken as assumed value here. You take any value as assumed value within the series or outside the series. Usually we take within the series. So 40 minus 40 0, 38 minus 40 minus 2, 36 minus 40 minus 4, 35 minus 40 minus 5, 39 minus 40 minus 1, 37 minus 40 plus 3, and 41 minus 41. Now d square 0, 4, 16, 25, 1, 9, 1. Therefore, the sum of d square is equal to 56, and sigma d is equal to minus 14, and sigma x is equal to 266, and n is equal to 7. Now arithmetic mean can be calculated using the formula x bar is equal to sigma x by n. Sigma x 266 by 7 is equal to 38 marks. Now standard deviation can be calculated as sigma is equal to root of sigma d square by n minus sigma d by n whole square. Therefore, by substituting the calculated values into the formula, so we get root of 56 by 7 minus 14 by 7 whole square. So root of 8 minus 4, root 4, therefore 2 marks. Now coefficient of variation can be calculated as CV is equal to means standard deviation or sigma divided by arithmetic mean or x bar into 100 is equal to 2 by 38 into 100 equals 5.26%. Therefore, this after calculating CV of both judge A and judge B, then we have to interpret the result having these values. So here coefficient of variation is lower or less for judge A, therefore is a more consistent judge. So therefore this is the way in which we are going to solve the problems on coefficient of variation.